Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. Today I'm going to recap the NBA, NHL, and college basketball games from yesterday. Look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. Then we'll do some Australian Open and some soccer. NFL, what's next we're going to do? I'm just going to do postmortems on the 8 teams that were eliminated in the postseason. News and notes. And best bet for today. We'll start with the NBA. We will recap everything from yesterday. We have 7 games tonight to talk about as well. Bucks over the Pistons, 150-130. Whoa. Magic over the Celtics, 113-98. Bulls over the Hawks, 111-100. Rockets over the Timberwolves, 119-114. Jazz over the Hornets, 120-102. Trailblazers over the Spurs, 147-127. And the Kings over the Grizzlies, 133-100. Some of these scores are just outrageous from yesterday. All right. 7 games. 7 o'clock, you have the Bulls and the Pacers. My projections, Chicago by 6.5, total 230 and 4/5. If I have 7 unders again, then I'm going to have to change total projections. Bulls are giving 1.5, totals 230.5. I'm actually going to lay the points with the Bulls. They are healthier than Indiana right now, and they're playing better than Indiana, so I'm going to lay the points with the Bulls. 7:30 on TNT, you have the Celtics at the Heat. My projection is Boston by 3.25, total 223 and 7/10, and it is Miami by 2.5, total 217.5. So this might be a case where I might have to take the over, believe it or not. So I have a 5 3/4 edge on the Boston Celtics, and I have a more than 6-point edge on the over, so I'm going to take the over. Cavaliers, Knicks. My line's Cavs by 1/4, total 222 and 4/5, and it is 3.5 and 221. I'm going to take the Knicks plus the 3.5 despite no Mitchell Robinson. Nuggets, Pelicans at 8. My line is New Orleans by 7 and 1/4, total 229 and 3/4. So that means it looks like Brandon Ingram might be back. Denver's only given 1 on the road, total 2. Ooh, I'm laying it with Denver. That's just an overreaction because Brandon Ingram's coming back. Holy crap. Wizards, Mavs at 8:30. My line is the Mavs by 7 3/4, total 225 and 3/10. And it's 7.5 and 225.5. This is the closest projection I've had all week in the NBA, let alone maybe all month. So slight lean to the Mavs. 9 o'clock, Hornets, Suns. My line's the Suns by 8, total 227 and 19-20. And it's 6.5 and 227. I'm going to do a slight lean to the Phoenix Suns. And 10 o'clock on TNT, Clippers, Lakers from Crypto.com. My line is Clippers by 5 3/4, no, 227 and 13-20. And it is 5 and 230. So I'm going to take the under in that game. All right, now we'll move on to the NHL. We'll recap yesterday's results and look ahead to, I want to say, I don't think it's that busy. I think it's like 7 or 8 games. Rangers over the Panthers 6-2. Maple Leafs over the Islanders 5-2. Sabres over the Stars 3-2 in OT on a game winner by Owen Power. And the Flames over the Blue Jackets 4-3 in overtime on a goal by Dylan Dubé in Johnny Gaudreau's first game back in Calgary. It is actually pretty busy tonight in hockey. 11 games, it looks like, on the board. 7 o'clock, you have the Sharks and the Red Wings. Red Wings are favored, minus 144. Sharks plus 120, over under 6.5, minus 10 each fight. Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 200. Red Wings minus 1.5 is plus 160. I like the over. Bruins, Canadians. Boston minus 385. Montreal 3-1. Over under 6. Overs minus 118. Unders minus 104. Boston -1/2 is -152. Canadians +1/2 is +124. I'm going to go with the under. Kings Flyers. Kings -144. Flyers +118. Over under 6. Overs -112. Unders -108. Kings -1/2 is +168. Flyers +1/2 is -210. For this one, I like the over. Panthers Penguins. Pens -162. Panthers +134. Over under 6.5. Overs -130. Unders +106. Panthers +1/2 is -184. Pens -1/2 is +148. I'm going to do the same pick I did against the Panthers last night, except do it on the Pens. I'm going to take the Pens in regulation at even money. Wild Lightning. Bolts -154. Wild +128. Over under 6. Overs -122. Unders even money. Wild +1/2 is -92. Lightning -1/2 is +154. I like the under, actually. 7:30. Golden Knights Devils. Devils -176. Vegas +142. Over under 6. Overs -122. Unders even money. Vegas +1/2 is -170. Devils -1/2 is +138. For this one, I'm going to go with Vegas in regulation. Oh, wait. How is New Jersey such a larger favorite than Vegas? I'm going to say Vegas moneyline +146. They're going to beat the Devils. I'm surprised that New Jersey's that big of a favorite. Jets Preds at 8. And meanwhile, Vegas in regulation, I said that by mistake. Because I legit thought that they were favored in this game. +220. I'm just going to take a money line +146. The Jets Preds at 8. Jets -118. Preds -102. Over under 6. Overs -105. Unders -115. Jets -1/2 is +198. Preds +1/2 is -250. We'll go with the Preds at home at -102. They need the game. Sabres Blues. Blues -137. Sabres +114. Over under 6.5. Overs -134. Unders +110. Sabres +1/2 is -215. Blues -1/2 is +172. I'm going to go with Buffalo again. +114 in St. Louis. Ducks Coyotes at 9. Coyotes -137. Ducks +114. Over under 6.5. Overs -105. Unders -115. Ducks +1/2 is -205. Coyotes -1/2 is +164. For this one, I'm going to go with Anaheim +114. Caps, Avs. Avs -142. Caps +118. Over under 6. Overs -114. Unders -106. I'm sorry, it's the other way around. Overs -106. Unders -114. Caps +1/2 is -215. Avs -1/2 is +168. I'm going to go with Avs in regulation +106. 10 o'clock, Blackhawks, Canucks. Canucks first game with Rick Taché. Canucks -235. Blackhawks +190. Over under 6.5. Overs even money. Unders -122. Blackhawks +1/2 is -128. Canucks -1/2 is +104. I'm going to go with the over in that game. All right, college basketball. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to the games tonight. Northwestern over Wisconsin, 66-63. Western Illinois over North Dakota, 92-80. Chicago State over Coastal Carolina, 74-70. Holy mackerel. Colgate over BU, 64-51. Virginia Tech upsets Duke. Not really, they were favored. 78-75. Penn over Hartford, 76-52. Oakland over Detroit, 76-67. Maryland Eastern over NC Central, 59-58. Howard over Coppin State, 90-76. Morgan State over Norfolk State, 77-71. Delaware State over South Carolina State, 88-85 in overtime. Jackson State over Florida A&M, 59-58. Grambling over Pine Bluff, 77-70. Alcorn State over Bethune-Cookman, 76-68. Southern over Mississippi Valley State, 84-70. Texas Southern over Alabama State, 71-65. Number 17, Baylor over number 9, Kansas, 75-69. Nevada upsets number 25, New Mexico from a Oh, that wasn't really an upset either. They were favored. 97-94 in double overtime, and Alabama A&M over Prairie View 67-59. All right, 6:30 on the Big Ten Network tonight. You have Penn State and Rutgers. My line is Rutgers by 8.25, total 134 and 7/10. And it's 6.5 and 129.5. I would like the over. ESPNU at 7 o'clock. Number 20 Miami at Florida State. My line is Miami by 5.5. Total 145.25. And it is 2.5 and 149.5. Under. Tulsa and East Carolina on ESPN Plus. My line's East Carolina by 2.5, total 142 in the 10th, and it is 4.5 and 141.5. I'm going to take Tulsa getting the points. ACC Network, Notre Dame, NC State. My line's NC State by 9.75, total 144 and 13/20. And we got here 8.5 and 143.5. That's a tough one. Slight NC State. DePaul, Georgetown on Fox Sports 1. My line's DePaul by 4, total 148.25. And it's 2.5 and 148.5. I'm going to lay the points with DePaul, slightly in DePaul. Ohio State, Illinois on ESPN. My line is Illinois by 9.5, total 142 3/5. And it's 3.5 and 144.5. Woo! I'm laying the points at Illinois. That's low. Missouri, Ole Miss on the SEC Network. My line is Missouri by 1.25, total 145 3/4. And it's Ole Miss 1.5, total 144.5. That's Vegas nose to me. But I'm taking Missouri plus 1.5 and plus 114 anyway. LSU, Arkansas on ESPN2. My line is Arkansas 9.25, total 138 4/5, and it's 12.5 and 138.5. I'm taking LSU getting the 12.5. That's a lot of points. Davidson, LaSalle. My line is Davidson 3.5, total 143 or 13/20, and it is 3.5 and 139.5. Slight over. Eastern Michigan and Toledo on CBS Sports Network. My line is Toledo 21, total 158, and it is 19.5 and 165.5. Under. Bowling Green and Central Michigan. My projection's Bowling Green by 2, total 145 and 17/20. And it's 2.5 and 147.5. Slight under. Miami of Ohio and Akron. My line is Akron by 20, total 143 and 1/10. And it's 13.5 and 139.5. I'm laying the points. Buffalo, Ball State. My line is Ball State by 10, total 149 and 7/20. And it's 5.5 and 152.5. Laying the points. Western Michigan and Ohio. My line's Ohio by 10, total 147 and 3/20. And it's 9.5 and 146.5. Slight over. Oklahoma at number 11, TCU at 8 o'clock. My line's TCU by 10, total 137 and 1/5. And it's 5.5 and 137.5. I'm laying it with TCU. Kent State, Northern Illinois. My line's Kent by 19, total 139 and 9/20. And it is 12.5 and 137.5. I'm gonna lay the points of Kent State. UIC and Missouri State, my line's Mizzou State by 14 a quarter, total 133 and 3/20, and it's 12.5 and 129.5 over. Murray State and Southern Illinois, my line is Southern by 14, total 133 and 9/10, and it's 6.5 and 131.5. I'm going to lay the points with Southern Illinois. 9 o'clock, ESPNU, number 5, Kansas State at number 12, Iowa State. So Kansas State makes a jump from 13 to 5, which is insane. My line is Iowa State by a half, total 137 and 3/10. This is perhaps the game of the night. And it's Iowa State by 5.5, total 134.5. Give me Kansas State plus the points and plus 172. I think they're going to win that game. That's crazy that they're that sizable of an underdog. Longhorn Network, Oklahoma State at number 10, Texas. My line's Texas 11, total 138 and the 10th, and it is 8.5 and 135.5. So I'm going to take the over. ACC Network, Georgia Tech at number 24, Clemson. My line is Clemson 20 and a quarter, total 140 and 9/20, and it is 10.5 and 139.5. I'm going to lay with Clemson. CBS Sports Network, Indiana State Drake. My line's Drake by 10 3/4, total 141 and 7/20, and it's 6.5 and 144.5. I'm going to lay the points. ESPN North Carolina Syracuse. My line's North Carolina by 3 1/4, total 148 and 3/4. And it is 3.5 and 150.5. Slight under. SEC Network, Kentucky Vandy. My line is Kentucky 9.5, total 143.5, and it is 5.5 and 144.5. I'm going to lay the points with Kentucky. Fox Sports 1, Fresno State, Boise State. Mine's Boise by 20.5, total 129 and 3/10, and it is 11.5 and 125.5. I'm going to lay it with Boise. 10 o'clock, Air Force, San Jose State. My line is San Jose State by 1.5, total 133 1/4, and it is 3.5 and 126.5. I'm going to take the over. And last but not least, 11 o'clock on CBS Sports Network, Wyoming and UNLV. My line is UNLV by 5, total 140 and 17/20, and it's 6.5 and 141.5. Slight lean, Wyoming. Now we're going to go over the results from the Australian Open from yesterday and look ahead to everything going on tonight and into tomorrow morning. We'll start with the men's. So quarterfinal, we had 18 seed Karen Kakdavov over 29 seed Sebastian Korda in 3 sets in a walkover. Hopefully Korda is okay. We went over the 4th round results on the show yesterday, so we don't have to do that again. And then the other quarterfinal, 3 seed Stefanos Tsitsipas over Jiri Lekecha in 3 sets late last night, early this morning. And then 10:30, we have a quarterfinal match, Ben Shelton and Tommy Paul. This is an interesting match. I don't think any of these gentlemen expected to be here, but here they are. Tommy Paul's a big favorite. I think he's going to win. I think it's going to be 3-2, 4-1. And then at 3:30 a.m., you have a dream matchup. I'm going to call this the real final. Because, or unless you can make a case of Tsitsipas against one of these will be the real final. But this feels like a real semifinal to me. To me, this feels like the winner of this is definitely going to the final. So let's call this the real semifinal. 5 seed Andre Rublev, 4 seed Novak Djokovic, Djokovic is a monster favorite at minus 750. Rublev is plus 550. Djokovic 3-0 is only minus 105, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Djokovic 3-1 is plus 240 is the pick. I really do. And then the women's from yesterday and this morning. We had 22 seed Elena Rybakina over 17 seed Jelena Ostapenko in 2 sets. And 3 seed Jessica Pegula goes down to 24 seed Victoria Azarenka in 2 sets. Azarenka dominated that second set. 2 quarterfinal matches tonight. 7 o'clock, you have 30 seed Carolina Pliskova and Magda Linette. Pliskova's minus 150. Linette is plus 130. I like Pliskova. I think she's better than Linette. Pliskova 2-0 is going to be the pick at plus 155. And then 9 o'clock, you have 5 seed Arina Sabalenka and Donna Vecek. Sabalenka's minus 390. Vecek is plus 310. I think Sabalenka is going to be too much for Vecek, unfortunately. So Sabalenka 2-0 is minus 140. That's just a layup. But let's go to the game spread. I'm going to go Vecek plus 4.5 at plus 102 instead. Alrighty, and then tomorrow night starts the women's semifinals. And then the men's semifinals is on Thursday the 26th. The women's final Saturday the 28th. And the men's final Sunday the 29th. All right, now move on to soccer. We'll go over the results from notable matches from yesterday, and we'll look ahead to everything going on today in that sport. So we will start with German Bundesliga. So 12:30 you have Schalke and RB Leipzig. Interesting match right there. Just gonna pull up the Leipzig's minus 195, Schalke's plus 480, draw plus 330. For this one, we're gonna go under 2.5 goals at plus 114. 230 Bayern and Cologne. Bayern 6-1, FC Cologne 950, draw 6-1. I'm going to go with under 3.5 goals at plus 120. Hertha and Wolfsburg. Hertha plus 185, Wolfsburg plus 140, draw plus 240. This is a tough one. So I'm going to go with Wolfsburg at plus 140. And last but not least, in Bundesliga, Hoffenheim and Stuttgart. Hoffenheim plus 115, Stuttgart plus 230, draw plus 240. Hoffenheim's been slumping a little bit. Are they due to come through? I don't know. Give me the draw plus 240. All right. Carabao Cup semifinals, first leg. 3 o'clock today. You have Southampton and Newcastle. I'm trying to pull it up here. I thought I saw that line earlier. Here we go. Newcastle's minus 150, Southampton plus 420, draw plus 230. I'm going to go with under 2.5 goals at plus 108. Serie A results from yesterday. Bologna and Cremonese 1-1 draw. Empoli over Inter Milan 1-0. And then today, 2:45, you have Lazio and Milan. You have Milan's a plus 155 road favorite. Lazio plus 180, draw plus 220. This is a tough one. I'm going to go with the draw at plus 220. And Eredivisie today, 12:45, you have Emmen and PSV in Dutch soccer. PSV's minus 260, Emmen's 550, draw is 350. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals at minus 110. So other soccer from yesterday we want to get into. So English Premier League, Tottenham over Fulham 1-0. We won't see EPL again until another week and a half, Friday the 3rd. We won't see Mexican Liga again until Thursday the 26th. Spanish La Liga result from yesterday, Valencia and Almeria 2-2 draw. We're not going to see Spanish La Liga again until Friday the 27th. And then French League 1, we're going to see again on the 27th as well. And then today, you have the English FA Cup, the final third round game, Accrington and Boreham Wood. Accrington's plus 105, Boreham Wood's plus 260, draws plus 210. This is a tough one, but I'm going Accrington plus 105 to play it safe. All right, now I'm going to do a segment for the teams that were eliminated already in the postseason. Simply 2 words, what's next? We are going to start from the top of the postseason. The first team to be eliminated was the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, they had a really good season. No one expected them to be in the postseason after trading Russell Wilson. I think they... it's interesting to see what they do with Geno Smith. He had a career year, but I don't know if, to me, he's a long-term guy. If I'm them, I draft a quarterback, perhaps in the first round. To me, he just screams flash in the pan. If there's a quarterback this year that I think is going to drop off, it's going to be Geno Smith. So if I'm Seattle, I draft the quarterback and also try to help reboot that defense too, because that defense is ultimately what cost him. But I'm worried about Geno Smith long term. The Chargers. It's the same song and dance every year with this franchise. They have the talent to win a championship, but they fall flat on their face every single year. Justin Herbert's just not on the same level as Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. He's just not. That's the reality of the situation. People pretend that he is and think that he is, but no way. If he was, then the Chargers would have held on against the Jaguars, and who knows, maybe they would have beaten the Chiefs. So, enough with that. Justin Herbert is a top 3 quarterback talk. I'm sick of it. And you're going to be hearing some extension talks. Or I said on News and Notes yesterday that the Burrow stuff's already out there, so you're going to be seeing it with Herbert too. It's going to be interesting to see how much these two quarterbacks get paid. And there's going to be cap casualties on both those teams. The Bengals and the Chargers. And Brandon Staley should have been fired. I am surprised that he wasn't fired. Joe Lombardi got fired, so did the quarterback's coach. But Staley should have been fired. He played Mike Williams in Week 18, and that cost him the wild card game. And if Mike Williams plays, they probably win that game, right? Maybe. It is still the Chargers, so maybe they still don't win that game. But that's just a great what if. And Joey Bosa had a complete meltdown, and that's not a good look on him either. And then after them, the team that went down was the Miami Dolphins. Their what if was to, if he wasn't concussed all season, or I should say throughout the season, they probably we're probably talking about them in the divisional round of the postseason, and them playing the Chiefs potentially, or them going on a run. So that's like their great what if, and there's a lot of speculation that he may retire because of the concussion stuff. And there's some talk that Miami might want to move on because of the concussion issue. So, to me, that's the biggest question for them this offseason. And I don't know if they want to pursue an extension like how I think the Bengals and the Chargers will with their young quarterbacks. The Minnesota Vikings, they're just proved to be the most overrated team of the season, winning all those close games at a negative point differential, and finally reared its ugly head in the postseason and couldn't close out the Giants. So, Minnesota had a fun season, but I don't think they're a guaranteed playoff team even next year. Like, what if Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay? What if the Lions make a bunch of moves to make themselves better? What if the Bears improve their roster around Justin Fields to the point where Justin Fields kind of makes a leap like Trevor Lawrence did this year? I don't think the Vikings are a sure thing next season. That's my takeaway from them. And then they fired their defensive coordinator after 1 year. So, it's going to be interesting to see what Minnesota does. And then divisional round, Jaguars, great year. I know they went 9-8 and won their division, but it's still a remarkable turnaround from where they were a year ago. And Trevor Lawrence is on his way up to stardom. Doug Peterson proved to be the right hire for his for the flaws I think he has as a coach. I still think that was a pretty solid hire by them. And they're a few pieces away from joining that Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City group, I think. But they're the fourth team right now. It's just reality of the situation. The Giants. A lot of free agents on their team, but they do have a lot of cap space, which is good news for them. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Dexter Lawrence, who they franchise tag. From the comments of Joe Shane, it sounds like they're leaning towards franchise tagging Daniel Jones. And he refused to comment about Saquon Barkley, which is interesting. And if I'm the Giants, I try to bring him back because I think Barkley is on like that elite level running back like Derrick Henry and some of those other guys, Nick Chubb. So I would bring back Barkley, and then Dexter Lawrence I think is going to be the one. If I had to guess, if they had to let one walk, it's Dexter Lawrence. And he had a career year this year too, as did Daniel Jones. But it's going to be interesting. And there's, of course, all the Daniel Jones doubters are calling for them to go get Tom Brady. Like, come on. I think Tom's done. But I could be wrong. Tom could be rejuvenated next year with a better coach and a better team. But I wouldn't take a chance on Tom. He was so bad this year. And Rodgers is just a diva. I mean, like, the Giants dealt with the drama with Odell Beckham Jr. And I wouldn't go for Aaron Rodgers because you know how I felt about Odell with the Giants and how that ended and how that destroyed their franchise a little bit. But things are better now with the Giants, obviously. And who knows, maybe Odell comes back and is a more mature person than he was 7-8 years ago. So that's like the fun subplot to follow as well when it comes to the Giants. Buffalo. What a disappointment. I mean, you're favored by 5.5 at home, and I get it. There's injuries, but everyone has injuries, including the Bengals. And I picked the Bengals to win the game, but so many people had the Bills winning the Super Bowl this year. I think that the betting market, the media, their fan base, and even casual football fans overrated the Bills. Their defense was really bad, especially without Von Miller and Micah Hyde. And Josh Allen was in a turnover happy phase here at the end of the season. And he wasn't like that under Brian Daboll. And guess who else went away from those bad habits under Brian Daboll? Daniel Jones. So maybe Daboll was a bigger loss for the Bills than we had realized. And then last but not least, the Dallas Cowboys. Oh boy. They're just a team that will always be, to me, as long as Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott are there, barring some other big changes, a really good regular season team that will lose either in the wild card round or the divisional round, depending on opponent. I just don't think Dak has the ceiling as Mahomes and Burrow do. I put Dak on that, like, Herbert level. And honestly, Josh Allen's probably at that level as well. And their defense, Dallas, played well against the 49ers, I think. Holding them to a bunch of field goals, giving their offense a chance, but their offense really didn't do much in that 49er game. There's a lot of debate on social media. Oh, the Dallas defense blew it. No. Their offense was so bad in that game. Their kicker, what a joke, Brett Maher. Had an extra point blocked, but let's face it, that would have been a miss because of how that ball was spinning. If you see the replay, he would have missed that extra point if it wasn't blocked. The block just made it look better. And Jerry Jones is bringing back Mike McCarthy because they beat washed up Brady in the Bucs the previous week. So, just the same old song and dance with the Dallas Cowboys as it is each and every year. To me, they're like the New York Yankees in the regard of, with the current structure of the team, they have a good regular season potential, but limited postseason potential. And I think there's some other teams that you can compare in sports to those two that I just mentioned. So I think that's actually a decent comparison. And plus expectations and fans and delusional fans. And so just wanted to throw that comp out. And plus the owners have reputations too, and Jerry Jones and Hal Steinbrenner. And those two are actually friends, believe it or not. So, just wanted to throw out that Cowboys-Yankees comparison there. And, like, how they, like, build their teams and how, they're really not built to win. So, yeah, that's what's next for the teams that have been eliminated. We'll do this next week for whoever loses the AFC and NFC championship games as well. All right, before news and notes, I'm going to reveal my predictions on who gets the call to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm going to pull up the ballot. And I'm going to make my picks. So the ballot: Bobby Abreu, Bronson Arroyo, Carlos Beltran, Mark Burley, Matt Cain, R.A. Dickey, Jacoby Ellsbury, Andre Ethier, J.J. Hardy, Todd Helton, Torrey Hunter, Andrew Jones, Jeff Kent, John Lackey, Mike Napoli, Johnny Peralta, Andy Pettitte, Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, Francisco Rodriguez, Scott Boland, Roland, Jimmy Rollins, Gary Sheffield, Hudson Street, Omar Vizquel, Billy Wagner, Jared Weaver, and Jason Worth. This is going to be interesting because there's going to be some controversial picks in here. I'm going to go Carlos Beltran. Yes, he was involved in the Astros cheating scandal, but that is just one blemish that he has on his resume. Outside of that, he had a phenomenal career. A bunch of different stops, including the Mets, the Yankees, the Cardinals. He was a leader as a player. And he was clutch in October, other than the strikeout looking against the Cardinals in 2006. But I'm going to throw Carlos Beltran on my ballot. Next, I'm going to go with Todd Helton. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Coors product. But he was a hell of a ball player. He was a really good defensive player as well. And helped lead the Rockies to the World Series in 2007. Next, I'm going to go with Andrew Jones. I love Andrew Jones. He was a really good player in his prime in the steroid era. And I don't think he was on steroids, unlike potentially someone else that's already in the Hall of Fame. And I think that he deserves it. My next pick is going to be Manny Ramirez. Manny was just such a fun player to watch. High energy, bounced around a little bit. Was on some winning teams. Here's my another controversial one. Alex Rodriguez. This might be a biased pick, but I think A-Rod belongs. If David Ortiz can be in the Hall, so could A-Rod. That's my take. And no one ever talks about that Ortiz's name was on a PED list back in 2003. That's because he's so beloved. And A-Rod's not beloved. That's the difference between the two players. A-Rod was always hated, and Papi was always beloved. And I love Papi. And I think that Papi belongs in the Hall of Fame. But I think Alex belongs as well. And he helped lead the Yankees to the 2009 title. He was on a bunch of other winning teams with the Yankees in the past. Was obviously amazing with the Mariners and the Rangers too, before he came to the Yanks. My next pick, this is a little bit of a recency bias pick because of how great he was as a player. He's a world champion. That's Jimmy Rollins, a former Philadelphia Philly. Watched him play throughout his career. Really good shortstop. And played in a very, very tough era as well. Gary Sheffield. We talked about Gary a lot on the podcast. I think he belongs, obviously. And my last pick's going to be Billy Wagner. I think it's time for Billy to get in. And I think tonight that he could very well hear his name called. So, again, my picks. Carlos Beltran, Todd Helton, Andruw Jones, Manny Ramirez, A-Rod, Jimmy Rollins, Gary Sheffield, Billy Wagner. So I have 8. So we will see who gets in and who does not get in. All right, now I'll move on to the news and notes for today. We are going to start in the NFL. Nobody's hired a coach yet, which is interesting. Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka is getting in meeting with the Texans again for its head coaching position. Kafka's interviewed for 3 jobs. It's just amazing that Kafka's getting interviews. I don't think anybody would have guessed that a year ago, that Brian Daboll's offensive coordinator was going to get in interviews. But here we are. The defensive coordinator doesn't surprise me that he's getting interviews because he got interviews back when he was with the Ravens too. The Patriots hired Bill O'Brien as offensive coordinator after spending the last 2 seasons at Alabama. O'Brien is a big upgrade over the Joe Judge, Matt Patricia combination that had no business being co-offensive coordinators. So, Bill O'Brien back in the NFL, back with Bill Belichick. So, nice hire. So, The Athletic reports that the Panthers and the Texans have emerged as the most attractive head coaching jobs among coaches and executives. Texans make sense because they have the second and 12th picks of the draft. Everyone thinks they're going to take a quarterback with 2. And they're in a weak division. And in Carolina, weak division. They have some talent. The possibility of a quarterback upgrade there as well. Sean Payton gets a second interview with the Broncos. And they appear to be the favorites to land him. Stephon Diggs tweeted out his story about his unhappiness after their loss to the Bengals. Tom Brady sounded salty on a podcast on 2023. If I knew what I was going to effing do, I already would have effing done it, he said. Ezekiel Elliott wants to stay in Dallas. He's willing to take a pay cut if necessary and is set to make $10.9 million in 2023. Bills defensive tackle Jordan Phillips to get surgery. He played through a torn rotator cuff, but will be ready for training camp after surgery. Nick Bosa claims that the 49ers are America's team after ending their season, or Dallas' season, twice in a row. That's funny. Ed Reed said he turned down Jackson State, but he chose Bethune-Cookman before the deal fell apart. And there's a protest going on at Bethune-Cookman as the students want them to restart contract negotiations with Ed Reed. Baseball news, the Angels will not be sold, as Moreno family says in a statement that they are not ready to part ways with the Angels and will continue to own the team. Jesus. I don't think the Morenos are good at owners at all. The Twins acquire Michael A. Taylor from the Royals. Rare in-division trade that you don't see often. So the Twins got themselves a good defensive outfielder in Michael A. Taylor. There's an awesome Judge Jeter story that came out, is that Judge reveals on The Tonight Show how Jeter's lunch offered changed when he signed the $360 million deal. That is an awesome story. I suggest you guys check out that segment on The Tonight Show. A big NBA trade happened yesterday. Oh, not really big, but one of significance. The Lakers acquire Rui Hachimura from the Wizards for Kendrick Nunn and 3 second-round picks. So the Lakers got themselves some depth here with Hachimura, and the Wizards clear out their front court logjam. And now Kyle Kuzma is not available, as the Wiz has informed teams that Kuzma is not available to be traded at the deadline. So they want to re-sign him. If he leaves, they have egg on their face. And speaking of the Wiz, Kristaps Porzingis out with a left ankle sprain and could be back in the lineup in 2 weeks. The Phoenix Suns are looking to add guards. Fred VanVleet, Terry Rozier, and Emmanuel Quickley are on Phoenix's radar despite Chris Paul's injury concerns. LeBron says there's a chance that Bronny commits to the Oregon Ducks due to head coach Dana Altman, which would be interesting. And the new AP poll is out. Some of it I actually gave away while giving out the picks. 1 through 5, Purdue, Alabama, Houston, Tennessee, Kansas State. 6 through 10, Arizona, Virginia, UCLA, Kansas, Texas. 11 through 15, TCU, Iowa State, Xavier, Gonzaga, Auburn. 16 through 20, Marquette, Baylor, Charleston, UConn, Miami. 21 through 25, Florida Atlantic, St. Mary's, Providence, Clemson, New Mexico. Dropping from the rankings is Rutgers and Arkansas. Others receiving votes: Duke, Indiana, San Diego State, Rutgers, Kent State, North Carolina, Michigan State, Illinois, Creighton, Arkansas, Missouri, Wisconsin, NC State, Kentucky, VCU, Boise State, Memphis, Oral Roberts, Wake. All right, so St. Mary's is deservingly in the rankings. with the run they've been on. 4 losses on the season. So, welcome to the poll, St. Mary's. Mexico back in the poll after losing a few games. Clemson drops after losing to Wake. UConn drops after a couple losses. Gonzaga drops big time after its loss to Loyola Marymount and barely beating Pacific. Kansas drops because they're on the losing streak. Kansas State moves up with that big win over Kansas. So they're awesome, that team. And then Charleston's still in there at 18. And another takeaway is that 4 Big 12 teams in a row, Kansas, Texas, or TCU, Iowa State, all in a row, which is really funny. And how often do you see 4 teams from the same conference consecutively in an AP poll? Alrighty, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I really don't love a lot of these picks I gave out throughout the show. So I really just got to decide where to go. There's a couple of them that I actually really liked in hockey. So that's the sport that I think I'm going to go to, and I'm going to lay a unit. And the pick is going to be the Pittsburgh Penguins in regulation at plus 108. At home. Plus 110 in regulation. To knock off the Florida Panthers. So that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to everything tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.